Hello everyone, I'm Mislav, I'm the VP of Product at Bikonomy, and today I am really proud to present ERC-8211, the smart batching standard for Ethereum and EVM chains. This has been the culmination of maybe a year or a bit more of client integrations, experiments, real-world applications to solve a very common and a very familiar problem for all of those working in the account abstraction and similar spaces. So at first, let me just do a bit of acknowledgements. This work has been primarily done in part of my capacity at Bikonomy, together with other people there, such as Filip Dujmušić, Filip Makarov, and Venkatesh Rajendran. It has also been done with great support and in collaboration with the Ethereum Foundation Protocol UX team, whom I've met in Patagonia, which basically kicked off the conversations of making this as an ERC. And lastly, the standard was inspired by the work done at my previous team R&D company called Cluster, which basically was part of the effort to enable multi-chain orchestration. But even though the standard did arise from multi-chain roots, the core of this standard is a single-chain batching standard. So in order to explain what ERC-8211 is, let's first see a few reasonably common problems with static batching. So imagine you have a transaction, a normal DeFi transaction, where you want to withdraw all of your balance from Aave, then you want to swap it into another token and supply it on Aave into another pool, or supply it into Morpho, or supply it into Euler, or do some type of more complex DeFi thing. Now, the problem with this is that Aave essentially accrues your interest or earnings block by block. And at the time of the signing, you don't really know exactly how much you are going to get, because you're going to get what you have at the time of the signing, plus all of the blocks that have passed from your signing up until when your transaction was included in the blockchain. Now, this might not be such a huge problem because these amounts can usually be trivially small and they can be estimated. But again, it creates like this composability problem where it's essentially impossible to compose multiple dynamic steps without incurring dust. You know, like either having some tokens left over on your account, or even worse, if you overestimate how much you are going to get, then your entire transaction is just going to fail. Now, how smart batching fixes this is through runtime parameter injection. So what runtime parameter injection does is it essentially enables developer to encode a dynamic parameter. And you can see here when calling aavepool.supply, we have this second parameter, which is the amount. It's not fixed anywhere. It's a dynamic parameter. What does this mean? This means essentially that this is going to take the account balance of USDT together with certain constraints. We'll talk about constraints a bit later, and then runtime inject whatever is on the account at that time. Now, if you are swapping from USDC to USDT, or you are withdrawing, this is going to be the exact amount that you need for this specific transaction. This is really cool. Now, you can make much more complex flows than just swap and supply. As I mentioned, you can withdraw and then you can swap exactly how much you got from Aave, and then you can supply exactly how much you got from the swap, because swaps also incur slippage. They depend on basically when in the block you were included, and many other things. Then imagine you want to send all of your ETH, like all of your ETH, you want to send it to some user, or all of your USDC, but you are using smart accounts and you are also paying gas in USDC. Now you can't do it because gas is not deterministic ahead of time. So you have to estimate how much is going to be remaining after deducting for gas. It's really cumbersome, and it's really not elegant engineering wise. So what you can do is just say whatever is remaining after you have deducted for gas, just send that, right? And it's a super simple transfer operation that you can easily do. Now, one other very interesting thing about smart batching is that it also has assertions. Like certain amounts need to be bigger than something. Maybe you can read from an oracle and do something if the price is bigger than something else. These assertions apply not to the function call itself, but actually to the fetching of every single dynamic parameter. So every single dynamically injected parameter can have an assertion associated with it. Now, this is really, really cool because you can, as I mentioned, you can say, hey, swap my USDC to USDT, but if I already have some USDT on the account, just use the maximum amount, right? Just use maximum like 100 USDT. This really prevents certain weird edge cases where a user already might have some funds, but they want to swap and supply as well. So you really, really get this general purpose solution. But the cool thing is that you can also put these assertions on an empty call, right? And so what you get like out of this for free, basically, out of this standard, you get regular assertions like predicate assertions such as, hey, assert that the balance after my swap of USDC is bigger than this number, right? So whatever happens with the router, whatever happens with the swap, whatever happens with slippage, MEV, etc., you can encode the transaction yourself, which is gonna make sure that you cannot get less than some amount, and this is basically going to give you MEV protection without writing an MEV protection smart contract. Now, to see how this essentially works, we can basically go into this demo here. Let me just connect demo here. Let me just connect the wallet. Oh, okay, I'm actually connected already. So this is my smart account. Basically, this right now uses smart accounts, but after we have frame transactions included into the blockchain, this is gonna work really, really nicely with regular transactions. Right now, you can also have it on your EOAs with 7702 and other types of standards. But let's say I have these like $4 of ETH on my account. I'm just gonna get put all of them as the input, and then I'm gonna do like a 3.8x loop on Aave. Basically, this is gonna do 7 loops, right? What does a loop do? It supplies funds to a pool, it borrows against that supplied amount, it swaps the ETH into a stable coin, and then basically it supplies it again and does this, it borrows stablecoin and then it swaps it into ETH and then supplies it again into pool many, many times. So you get leverage exposure to the price of Ethereum. So what this does, this demo, it does a really interesting thing. It wraps 39 on-chain steps into a single signature, right? So, and every single one of those steps, this is gonna be fully dustless. There is not gonna be any ETH remaining anywhere. This is gonna be fully dustless. And the interesting thing is, at the end, it also has a pure predicate assertion that the health factor has to be greater than 1.06. So if at the end of the day, like price moves against you, or there's some like weird edge cases that happen, somebody drains the pool or something like that, if your health factor or oracle gets mismatched during execution, if your health factor goes under 1.06, it will revert, right? So there's no smart contracts here. We have a fully interactive on-chain script with predicate assertions at the end. So we sign it now, and then we get this really nice looking sign type data. This is a joke. The sign type data is essentially a kind of blind to us a little bit. But the great thing about this standard is that it is fully compatible in the future to being added to the Clear Signing Initiative, ERC, and the signed type data can also contain very, very clearly visible actions that are going to happen. Right now, you see it basically as an array of user ops. And the cool thing about this signed data is it works across chains. You can do a single signature where you're gonna sign approval across like 2 or 3 or 4 chains, where also like runtime balance injection works really well to enable you to do multi-chain transactions. Click sign and confirm, and now it's executing. I go on my Explorer, I can see it's been included, and basically you can see from a single signature all these actions actually happen: swap, supply, borrow, swap, supply, borrow, swap, supply, borrow, and at the end an assertion was made that the balance, the health factor has to be a certain way. So yeah, essentially this is the smart batching standard. This is the first of many videos where we will be presenting the functionalities and options you can do. Would love to get feedback, would love to get contributions. This is an ERC after all, so we don't hold any any basically right to like just do it specifically how we want it. Very much open towards having it modified, adapted to maybe a case that your company has or your team needs. So do reach out. We are always willing to chat on the standard. And just for the end, let me just demonstrate that you can also now close this position. There's going to be 34 steps and one signature. Close this loop position also with a single user signature without ever writing a single smart contract. So this is amazing for wallets who want to encode like complex actions, for dApps who don't want to write complex smart contracts, etc. Yeah, thank you for the time. And as mentioned before, please do reach out if you would like to contribute, integrate, or you have some comments on the standard.